I will call this October 5th, 2020 meeting of the City Council to order. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jack, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hewlin,
Here.
Parker,
Present.
Kling,
Here.
Schroeder,
Present.
Marchant,
Present.
Southall.
Here. Next on our agenda is public comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak for public comment? But don't feel any pressure.
Everybody likes a cat. She's like,
All right, seeing no public comment, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled tonight? B?
Just be.
Yes.
Just B? Okay.
Yes, 5B.
Then we shall vote on the following items in the consent agenda. A, C, D, E, F, G, and H.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? Jackie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Kling,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye. That leaves us with item B, claims on the computer printout for October 5, 2020.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question for Doug.
Yes.
On page 14, the PFM Financial Advisors, it has listed on their YMCA financial analysis. I wanted to, number one, know what that was, and clarification if I can vote or if I need to abstain.
It's not a charge or a payment to the YMCA. This was done for the analysis that we shared, the $500,000 likely increase if the Y was to go away. That PFM was a financial firm that helped us with that study. So it was not a payment to the Y. So given that it's not, the project was, but it was a city project.
You do not need to recuse yourself.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any further discussion or questions? Jackie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Abstain.
Kling,
Aye.
Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye. That brings us to council reports, and we have before us a resolution approving a notice of intent to appoint a mayor. I'll move to approve. Discussion or further information? All right, Brian.
I was waiting.
Oh.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. While the computer or the projector warms up here, staff have been working diligently since our last city council meeting to make sure that we've provided a central webpage for interested parties to go to. We'll be going live at 6:30 tonight. So it will be prominently displayed on our website. There we have two forms of expressions of interest online form or the application itself. There's two ways to do that. One is to submit it through the website, and then the other is a printable form that incorporates the information that or the feedback that was provided to the city council or from the city council at its special meeting. All the information that's required here is the same that's required on the website. So that will go live again 6:30 today. So I believe the council wanted to make sure that interested individuals had as much time to complete and submit. So we've got the due date Wednesday, the 21st at 5 p.m. So that's close of business. And then we also identify that applicants will be asked to make a presentation of 5 minutes or less during the council meeting at 6 p.m. on October 29th. So that is that special council meeting. As we've done with over the last couple of years, anybody that's interested in seeking elected office, we've provided just information here. So the presentation that Doug reviewed at the special meeting Code of Ordinances, it's the searchable form. We have chapter 15, which deals specifically with the mayor. Mayor and council roles. This is from the League of Cities guidebook that's been mentioned before and has been provided to all elected officials. Copy of the city policies, comprehensive master plan, the strategic plan, so that the retreat that the council went through earlier this year, and then the city's budget itself. As we've done with anybody, any elected official, we will make sure that we meet, answer any questions that folks may have, try to get them as much information as possible. And then whether it's an appointment or a special election, we'd still handle it the same way that we've done previous elections. Send out letters, make sure we're providing information to those interested in the office. And then whoever is appointed, or if there's a special election, whoever's elected, we'll make sure we meet and provide those resources to make sure whoever's coming into that position is hitting the ground running. So again, that's going to go live at 6:30 tonight. And if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
I will point out that today I met with the mayor's youth council and we talked about how we'll go about replacing the mayor. And one of the questions they asked me was, what do you do if no one applies? And I said, I hope to God we don't find out. Starting at 6:30 tonight, I hope at least one person applies. Any other questions?
The online form. And then does it have a place for
The long response.
the essay?
Yes, there's on the second page, they can upload those documents. So we've given it a test. We've tested it a couple times this afternoon to make sure that it was functioning properly. When you submit, you'll get an email back, and then it automatically gets routed to the clerk's office.
Okay, great.
Can you read what's supposed to be covered in the essay?
Please provide an essay of not more than 500 words indicating why you desire to be the mayor of Indianola, why you believe you are qualified for this position, and how you will contribute to keep Indianola moving forward in a positive way.
Okay, good.
That's all I had.
Anyone else? Discussion or questions?
No, looks good.
All right.
Just really quick, and Doug can confirm this, but once council approves this, we then have to submit it and have it published in the newspaper. It's at that point that it's published is when the 14 days, so there's two 14-day windows for those circulating the petition for this special election. So it's within 14 days of the notice of the publication of the notice intent, or 14 days within from the time of appointment.
Jackie?
Councilmember Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Kling,
Aye.
Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye. Next on our agenda, under public consideration, old business, we have a resolution amending and approving the fee schedule for items taken to the brush facility and plumbing/mechanical permit fees.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion or further information, AP?
I think the main thing we want to talk about with this is just that we've got with COVID, if you remember, most of our electronic device drop-offs and different activities that take place at the brush facility, the extra service for our community, those got canceled. So kudos to AP and his staff on trying to come up with a solution. So just I asked AP to be prepared to communicate out the date and times that we're looking at for getting this event scheduled.
Sure. Thank you, Ryan. Mayor and Council, basically we are planning for this fall cleanup on October 17th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., where we will be accepting appliances, large bulky items, electronic recycling, and then household hazardous waste materials. The only other thing that I would also like to point out is we will also be accepting leaf and organic waste, which will be starting to be a free program starting from October 17th to November 22nd. That's the last date that the council has approved for the brush facility to be operational. So one of the changes that you have seen in your packages is basically the fees for the TV sizes. Prior to this, the TV was $15 per television set. We have revised this to reflect what our private facilitator is charging us for accepting those devices. Do you all have any other questions regarding that?
I have a question. It's related to this, and maybe Ryan could probably answer. We've noticed several washers and dryers that we knew, most of us knew weren't going to be picked up when they put them on the curb, because that's not one of the things to be picked up when they had the city cleanup. What's going to happen to those? I still see some on the curb. Is what happens?
So if they bring it to the brush facility on that cleanup day, we will accept that. We will be recycling that.
My question was, what if they don't bring it?
If we can identify who is responsible, Charlie and his staff will pursue with the enforcement of it as a code issue, code violation. There have been a couple instances where we could not identify who was the rightful owner of it. And so what we've done is our staff have just gone out, removed it, and made sure that it was disposed of properly. We had a situation just like 2 weeks ago, as an example, by one of our parks. Somebody placed a couch across the street on, and so Public Works park staff went out and grabbed that and made sure it was disposed of properly. So.
What were the times again for that?
So from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
I think everyone will be greatly appreciative that this is returned, because I know not having it this time was kind of a problem. So thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I would like to thank the fire, parks, and water pollution control. They also helping us with this, not just streets. We have half the strength from their departments too.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie?
Councilmember Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Hewlin.
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Clean,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye. The next item of business is a resolution approving sub-recipient grant agreement with Central Iowa Shelter and Services.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Just for clarification, this is for the $62,000 grant the city got, which has been used as part of the partnership with the various community restaurants to serve food meals to those that are less fortunate. So it's been going on Monday since sometime in August. So this allows, this is an agreement with Central Iowa Shelter and Services. They're coordinating, they're taking care of all the reporting functions on behalf of the city. So that just memorializes that relationship.
And I just wanted to say, I think you noted in the email this week, over 3,300 meals have been served. I noticed as I was driving in tonight for the meeting, and it looked like they were already cleaned out. And so I just wanted to say thanks to all the volunteers, and again, just make sure everyone knows about it.
Any other further discussion? Jackie, please.
Councilmember Marchant,
Aye.
Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Clean,
Aye.
Schroeder,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye. Next, under new business, we have before us a resolution approving a professional services agreement with Forestry Services LLC and Knutson Tree Service LLC for the removal of ash trees.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, questions, information?
Doug Byland's on Zoom, and he'll just provide a brief synopsis of what this is and where we're going and why and all the details. Doug?
Yes, excuse me. So we went out for RFP, we've been working on removing ash trees since 2010, trying to avoid a large financial impact at one time. Majority of these trees are street trees, right of way trees. When we got our bids back, they were three times higher than they have been in the past. So we went back and asked these companies, as we have written out in our RFP, that we could split these out amongst different organizations or agencies. So that's what we're wanting to do here. There's extremely high cost changes. The cost is going up as more and more ash trees are unfortunately dying and companies are trying to remove them. A lot of the street trees are unfortunately big street trees, and they're also next to power lines, other properties. So they not one of those normal trees where you can just cut it, let it fall and pick it up. They have to take it out piece by piece by piece. So hopefully it kind of explains we're going to do the 31 street trees as well as grind the stumps and then fill those up with dirt and seed those so they'll be nice and smooth for the future. And then the other half the other 22 trees, Knutson Tree Service will do along our trails system. So, and I definitely take any more questions if anybody has any questions.
How far along are we, Doug, in the whole process?
Yeah, so we have probably 95% of all of our property trees. There's a few left around a couple other parks, other areas that aren't as highly, like the current wastewater treatment plant. There's a few trees there. And then the other section that we have to address in the next couple of years is at least another 100 right-of-way trees that we're going to need to remove probably sooner than later, as they're starting to die and become a hazard. So we're working on that on the current CIP we're working now and trying to figure out a solution for those too. So, and trying to get other vendors and other bids and trying to find the best time of year to remove them and all of those, trying to do it as efficiently as we can and safely.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Doug.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Jackie?
Councilmember Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Hewland,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Ling,
All right.
Southall.
Aye. Next, under other business, we have the city manager's report. And the first item is vendors night. Brian,
Can we do some other business? before we
Sure.
go to that?
before the city managers?
Yeah.
Time out. We need some other business. Councilman Martin.
I don't know that we've ever actually said anything in an open session about how good the room looks.
Correct. Yeah.
No, it-
New paint, the tiles, so if we haven't, I apologize for not doing that before, but thanks to all those that put in the time to do it, because it's a lot nicer, so thank you.
Thank you. That was, for the viewing audience at home, that was a staff effort. So staff gave up their time on the weekend. We started on Friday and worked Saturday, Sunday to paint. And we've got, as we've talked about, as part of our building assessment, it's an old building and it's definitely showing its age. We've had some leaky pipes, and so we replaced those tiles, but yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Far less bunkerish than it was.
Yeah.
I have one other thing too. Something that I know I've mentioned before and probably haven't just in a council meeting, but somewhere along the line, we've gotten it where we get all the emails from Jackie from the clerk's office about all the RFPs that are going out. I don't know what everybody else, but it just clogs up email box. I mean, I've already signed up to get the RFPs from the website, and I guess if people want those, in my opinion, I don't know that we as council need to see them. I don't know what other people's opinions are of that or not, and I'm assuming it takes extra time to have to include the council into all that. I just don't know that it's needed per se. We've already given approval to put out for that stuff, I guess. So.
We post them on the website, we post them on social media. So if that's an email that you prefer not to see, that's totally fine.
He doesn't want that on the free, that just see it.
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, Councilman Parker, these are all those RFPs are budgeted activities.
Right.
So
I just didn't, it just
Yeah.
seems like it's one more thing and I already get too many.
And that's part of the process with eliminating, having people come in and present on it to
Correct, yes.
people or more so.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Unsubscribe. Thank you.
I won't be saving it for those sleepless nights.
Any other business before we get to the city council? All right, finally, beggars night. Very start.
Okay, so Beggars Night hours have been designated. And we know that in this time, it's one of those situations where folks want it, some folks feel uncomfortable about it, some folks don't want to have anything to do with it. The CDC did put out guidelines in different activities that families can do to enjoy this night safely. That information has been posted. It's been shared as recently as today on our social media outlets. Obviously, there's a risk with this during the pandemic, but the hours have been set 6 to 8 p.m. on October 30th. Again, all we're doing is designating when those hours are. It's up to families whether or not they choose to participate. I think I included something in my weekly email as well. For residences that wish not to participate, leave the light off. We ask that anybody that's participating in activities to respect those homeowners' wishes. If you do wish to participate, please leave the light on. But we encourage folks as they're planning their activities to read those guidelines from the CDC and the IDPH. We are very similar to a lot of other communities in the metro. We've designated the hours, but we want to make sure that our community members understand that there's risks associated with it and what the guidance is. And it's a personal choice, but just please be respectful and responsible as you're doing that.
Is this subject to change if something happens between now and the 30th?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we'll continue to monitor as we have with all the stuff related to COVID. So if there's anything that we see, we will certainly announce. Just a strong recommendation. We've had a series of internal discussions amongst our team members. So our police chief, fire chief, and library director and I got together and talked about trunk or treat. And the decision was to not have that this year. Same thing with Doug Byland and myself. We talked about some activities that were being planned by Parks and Recs, and those decisions were made to not have those. So we'll continue to monitor, and we're going to continue to communicate. I think some of the posts that our police department put out, as well as the post from today, said continue to check back and just refer to our website, refer to our social media outlets, because that's how we'll be communicating things out.
Thanks.
Next up, we have consideration of request from the Brick House to allow for additional outdoor dining use.
So we already have a lease agreement with the Brick House. It's a multi-year agreement. They had reached out to us on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, right before the packet went out. They had asked that there's been some nicer weather windows, and they've asked if they could keep it up for a little bit longer and obviously remove it before it gets too cold and snow starts flying. We do have the lease agreement. It does stipulate that it would be done by September 30th. With that type of time frame, it's April to September, and that's due to that's traditionally when it's more favorable to be outside. So they've just asked council to consider or allow them to keep it up for a little bit longer, and we'll be respectful and responsible, and certainly we would adhere to the policy concerning the fee that they would be required to pay for using that space. So looking for some
Is that
informal
just
direction.
input, or do we need to make a formal resolution?
It's just direction because it's already a lease agreement that's in place.
I guess I don't have any issue with, if the weather's nice and we're not concerned with it being in the way of snow removal, then I don't see any reason why it wouldn't hurt. So
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a good idea.
And I would add that weather aside, giving people the option of dine outdoors.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
is certainly
Absolutely.
Those are the places I personally will go to. I
Right.
won't go there, so.
Right.
I think we should let them continue.
Thank you. In speaking with the owners, it doesn't appear that they were clear that they weren't looking to go much further beyond this month. They thought maybe even a couple more weeks, but they wanted to be respectful and responsible to the terms of the
Sounds good.
agreement. Perfect.
And lastly,
Glad they're doing it.
to receive and file the correspondence from September 18th to the 25th. And weekly updates from the city manager.
I have it.
Brian Wall.
I move to receive and file correspondence from September 18th, 25th,
Second.
2020 weekly updates.
Oh,
from the city
Keep
manager,
it
Brian
going.
Thank you, Bob. Second.
Very
Heather.
full, yes.
Any discussion about receiving and filing? Seeing none, Jackie, please.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Kling,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye. And
Yeah,
lastly, I would.
Brian.
Sorry, I do have one
Not
more.
so
So earlier today, Andy and I were having a conversation. We got an email from from Mike Maloney, who is our financial advisor. We are asking if we can have a special city council meeting on November 9th at 10 a.m. This would be very similar to kind of the special meetings that the council has when they pay the end of the fiscal year bills, where it's really, this would be the public hearing and the financing and approving the public official statement for issuance. The statement describes the purpose and details of the loan notes, as well as information about the city to sell its case on the ability to repay debt. Need a special meeting due to timing and need to limit amount of borrowing between calendar years. We can have more information on the October 19th meeting. So we're not asking for anything now, but just please be aware.
What's the timing? Possibly?
November 9th at 10 a.m.
And we will have a new mayor by then.
You won't be you?
Well, if we haven't.
Oh, yeah,
replaced
that's
the
right.
mayor,
That's true,
then
yes.
I won't be able to do that because I will be.
And if the time doesn't work, we can look at different times, but November 9th, it would be a quick one. Did I miss anything?
No,
All right, for real last call
Yes.
on other
Yes.
business. Entertaining a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? Jackie?
Councilmember Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Kling,
Aye.
Schroeder,
Aye.
Marchant,
Aye.
Southall.
Aye.